Assault on college campuses is a huge problem, and it's difficult to measure because we typically depend on self-reports, and because sexual violence is so stigmatized, there's oftentimes understandable reluctance to disclose these experiences, even on an anonymous questionnaire. Often people don't even want to admit to themselves that these things have happened to them. But we need accurate measurements. We won't know if any programs or initiatives we do are working unless we have an idea of what's actually happening. My colleague Rayanne Anderson and I looked at this in our recently published article, and we experimentally compared the wording of a commonly used sexual assault measurement instrument. Questionnaires, including sexual violence questionnaires, either use first-person pronouns, I, me, or second-person pronouns, you. And second-person pronouns differ from other classes of personal pronouns because they are the same whether they're singular or plural, and whether they're the subject or the object. It takes a little more work to understand them. Here's an example of an item using second-person pronouns. Here's an item using first-person pronouns. We found that when second-person pronouns were used, people were more likely to disclose at least one incident, so that's the top one with percent disclosure, and when they did report incidents, they reported that they happened more often. Folks were randomly assigned, so it's unlikely that these findings are due to actual differences in sexual violence history. Sexual assault questionnaires look both at the sexual behavior and the coercive tactic used to violate consent for that behavior. And in this version of the items, we had the coercive behavior, in this case telling lies about somebody, before the sexual behaviors. Then we looked to see how the order of coercive tactic and sexual behavior influenced disclosure and reporting of incidents. We found that having second-person pronouns and the coercive tactic before the sexual behavior led to the highest percentage of disclosure of sexual violence and the greatest number of incidents of violence reported. I spent more time reading the items if they were in the second person and if they had the coercive tactic first, as opposed to the sexual behavior first. This may indicate that extra time prompted additional processing that encouraged them to disclose what had happened to them. Importantly, I want to mention that survey respondents received a list of resources for places and people they could go to in order to get help and support if they had experienced sexual violence.